Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot back with some more sparkle for you. So I just wanted to pop on and do a very quick comparison video because my pre-order for the Bone Codes Oracle just arrived today. This is by Ash Stinson, and this is just the updated version of the Energy Archaeology Oracle deck, which I've had for a long time now and really love. And so when I saw that she was coming out with this new edition of it, I was very tempted. And I had a hard time deciding whether I was going to order the newer version. And so I think a video like this would have really helped me in that decision process. So I'm just gonna show you what the differences are. So this is a first edition and it comes in this two-piece slide off box with the guidebook separately. The new set comes in this magnetic box. It's very luxe. This new one feels very luxe. It's soft touch, like rose petal on the outside. Remember who you are. We've got the ribbon to lift out the book. Second two-piece box on the inside. And so the cards are the same. It's just there have been some production changes. So right off the bat, you can tell that the first edition had the matte gold gilding and the Bone Codes edition has the shiny gold gilding, which is my preference. It also is borderless, where the first edition has borders, and then the backs are different. I think I might prefer the first edition because it looks reversible, although I don't really care about reading reversals in this deck, but it's always a nice feature to have. When I messaged the creator asking about the differences, she did say that the cardstock was the same, although I am such a cardstock snob and so picky that in my personal opinion, I feel like they're different. The first edition feels like a typical matte that has it's not rose petal, but it doesn't feel like that UV matte. So it has a little bit of stick to it and it doesn't have the sound when you move them on top of each other. Whereas this has that dry matte feel to it and it has the sound. So even though she said it's the same cardstock, I have a feeling this is just a typical matte and this is more of a UV matte, but maybe she meant the card thickness is the same. So I know that they are both 48 cards. So yeah, actually, so this one looks like it's a couple cards thicker. Yeah, it looks like it's maybe 2 cards thicker. So I think that there's some kind of difference in them, but to be honest, I think I prefer the matte UV. So the artwork should largely be the same. I think there's some tweaks and the words are the same, except sometimes there's a slight adjustment. So this says activating right foot and this says activate right foot. Seems like a lot of the ing words were dropped from the Bone Codes edition, but we'll take a look as we go. See, allowing and allow. I think that the borderless edition really allows the artwork to come to life, but there's something to be said for a white border because a lot of decks have a white border. And so if you're somebody that likes pairing decks, okay, so this artwork has changed. If you like pairing decks, sometimes the white border can help just add some continuity between decks. I love this card. I've definitely seen chatter about the font choice, maybe in the old one being difficult to read for people. I don't have any strong opinion from this to this. I think that to my eye, it's equally difficult to read. But it's definitely not a hang up for me. If I'm using this deck, I kind of want to be slowing down and tuning in. And so I don't mind having to look at the word for a bit and maybe that V looks like an R, but you know that it says give. I don't know. I think it's fine. I like that they're not capitalized. That's a small little change. Okay, so for this, it's identity frontal bone, and this says identity frontal, which if you didn't know that that was a skull, you might have, I don't know, you might have some difficulty there. Informing went to inform, and this artwork changed. Went from pubis to pubic. So there's small tweaks throughout. Definitely some new artwork there. I've talked in the past about digital artwork not being my favorite medium. But for this deck, there's certain decks I make huge exceptions for. And for this deck, I make an exception because I love the concept of this deck. This is definitely a deck that has a specific like job in my collection, and no other decks do what it does. And so I'm very appreciative to it for that. I love that middle finger card. I will say that I take what is in the guidebook with kind of a grain of salt, because this isn't like a deck that I would ever make a medical decision for. I leave that to the professionals and would absolutely never rely on cards for anything to do with my physical health. But I like the ability to kind of tune into specific body parts or bones and just see what the cards have to say. It gives me a specific focus. And for that, I find this deck very unique and special. Another big change here. I love this card. You could just see her residing in the sternum, and it kind of reminds me of the Lessons from Gaia, where the people are kind of integrated into the landscapes. Okay, so this is how the old one shuffled. And here's how the new one shuffles. Stability, lumbar spine. Let's see what the guidebook has to say. Okay, so as you can see, the original OG book is taller and narrower. The new one is squatter, shorter, and we do have some changes in the font. I definitely agree that this part here, the like main quote, is a lot easier to read in this font. We have properties, balance, unbalanced, associated cards, anatomy, energy, wisdom, and then the inquiry section, which was one of my favorite parts, which are these like thoughtful journaling prompts or things that you can ruminate on, are now in this little box. I like that. So it looks like largely the book content is the same, which I'm a big fan of. That makes me happy because I really do enjoy this book. In the Energy Archaeology, there's like a decent amount of content before you even get to the card pages, 0 to 38 maybe. And in Bone Codes, it looks like it's 0 to 32 for pre-information. There's some card spreads. This one had card spreads too. I don't see this like anatomy chart in the new one. So yeah, I think that this one doesn't have quite as much preamble. Because I'm not quite sure which one I'm keeping yet, I want to kind of poke through and see if all the information that I really loved from this book is still in this one. But I definitely like the borderless. That is a big draw for me. I think that when it comes to digital art, when it's borderless, I think I might like it more. So I'm just going to show you a couple of pairings. I really didn't pull that much because this is the kind of oracle that, to me, it doesn't really matter if it goes aesthetically. I just like to use it with whatever. Embodied Ecosystems is another digital art deck that is very, obviously it's embodied. It's right in the title. So to me, these have that similar vibe of what they're kind of focusing on, this kind of like body awareness. And this feels more like 3D art, where this feels more like flat. But that doesn't matter to me. I would definitely use these together. I have used it together with the OLD Energy Archaeology. Oh no. I wonder if I'm gonna struggle with the name change, because when I already have like an attachment to a deck and then the deck gets renamed, I struggle with like remembering to call it by its new name. So like, for example, the Spread Machine Oracle, I think it's called the Spread Creator. What is it? Spread Crafters Oracle now. But in my, like, it's Spread Machine to me. So I think that this will maybe forever be Energy Archaeology in my mind. I like this. This is the Lead Window Tarot. Definitely has some similar tones going on in the coloring. And then this is also digital artwork, but again, feels more like vectory 2D versus the very realistic, I don't know if you call it realistic, but like it feels 3D in bone codes. So. Yeah, I mean, I like these together. Shadows We Cast Tarot. I've been so into the lighted window and Shadows We Cast lately, so I've just been waiting for this oracle to arrive so I could see all of those kind of playing together without their borders. And I'm super excited about it. I like them. I do. I think they're awesome. Okay, this is one of the matchups that I was dying to do here. This is inspired by Kim the Somatic Sorceress. This is her everyday reading spread that she does, but essentially what she'll do is, the card she pulls is the topic, so it would be support, and then it would be the challenge and the opportunity, and then whatever the top one is like the thing to move through. So like for the lighted window, it'd be like the window to work through that, or like how to do whatever you need to do. So I've been really, really excited to pull these three together for this. Love it. This is like my little Bone Codes deck edit. It feels very fall into winter, but I really don't care because this is just so cool. Okay. Yeah, this is a tried and true favorite deck for me that I've had for a while now, and I'm excited to have this new edition in hand. I know that the creator at some point was working on like a organs deck, and if that comes to fruition, I will be first in line to buy that too, because I just think that, you know, besides Antique Anatomy, there's not a lot of like this type of thing out there. So I think this is really different and cool, and I'm glad to see it get this facelift. I think it's like very ultra luxe feeling, and I like the cardstock. So if you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and I will talk to you later. Signing out.